January 12th, 12:39 p.m. All right, Jurgen. You'll find this one interesting. A long time ago, back before I was even put into the gang stalking, I would have this problem. This was after at least one or two enlightenment jumps, at least after the first one. Thing is, I would pick up on people's energy. I could understand what they're thinking based on reading how they are. This is why I considered becoming a psychology major when I was in college. And then I was like, well, why be piddly about it? Then I can also become a major in sociology. I'll have a big name for myself. This is me back in college, my freshman year, my first year. My first year. And then I decided, well, I can only help one person at a time. Yeah, I could have a big name for myself and help a lot of people, but really it's one person at a time. I could advance knowledge and understanding in regards to psychology and sociology. I did look at that. Oh my God, I could have had a huge name for myself. You have no idea. But I decided that's not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was writing, because I could reach many people at once. So I'm getting way off subject here. But I would pick up on what people think about me, and it would be incorrect. But what would happen is I would absorb, this is the only way to put it, I would absorb their energy. I'd be so on their consciousness level and so into understanding them and their energy field, I would start resonating with their thoughts and their energy field in one way. David, you'll find this one interesting. It was really what would happen is I'd pick up on shit which people believed about me. I could see things which they thought about me which was incorrect. But then it was like, without trying to, it's like, hang on. Well, part of it is that because they had incorrect perceptions about me, I was conscious about how they are misreading me as I do this, or I do that, or I make a joke about this, or say this here. I understood their limited perceptions in regards to me, and I understood, like, I would think about it later, and I'd be like, oh, well, they saw me as being like this. You know, I'll give you a perfect example. There was this guy, Rich, who worked for the FBI. This guy I knew, and I think he had developed this theory that I was racist or something. Which would be a huge tell for me in regards to him. You know, it would be weird. Maybe somebody put the idea into his head, you know. But there's this university, I think it was A&T University out by Greensboro. I used to drive by it every time I would go out to the university out in Greensboro. And I brought it up with him, and I think I had called it AT&T, because back then AT&T was a major company. I mean, they still are. My parents have AT&T. But he perceived that as being like, well, you said it wrong because you are racist and you don't know it. You get it? This is where people run around with the distorted lenses and just see, like the woke movement. Everybody's seeing everybody else as racist. Well, most of them are racist. That is why. You know, I was thinking about it even today. You know, people that live up the street here, if a black man were to knock at their door, you get it? A lot of them would have a meltdown. Yet they're for Black Lives Matters. Hello? They're all a bunch of goddamn fakes. But the point is, I could tell what he was thinking. No, it was just an honest mistake on my end. But he read it as being a certain way. But then I responded from that like I was that way. You understand? Because I understood where he's coming from. It's just me understanding where he's coming from. It doesn't mean I'm actually guilty. You get it? So this was actually a major, this always stuck in my head in regards to him. I'm like, how can you even see me as racist? Hello? You know, maybe the FBI put it into his head, because this is how these all agents are here, David. It's amazing. They are just cheap in the it's amazing. You think they're agents, and they're not like this at all. They're balls to the walls, just stupid as shit. So here's a point. So I've been in a lot of fights with, quote, black people here, but that's because the people that started fights with me were racist, and I look like an easy mark. I look like an easy target. I'm small, I'm a nice guy, and people take being nice as being weak. That's the biggest fucking mistake in the world you can make with me. So I've been in a lot of fights, and I've won all of them except for a couple where I was just shit-faced drunk. And in regards to one of those, I can still give you a story. Saw the guy the next day. He got the fuck out of my way. I was going to beat the shit out of him because I wasn't drunk. So, even that night, that guy had started a fight with me because he was racist and I was drunk as shit. And he knew he could kick my ass easily. The next day, it was a totally different story. So the point is, how agencies have been reading me here, David, is I'm an alpha type. And I'm not. Actually, as these agents, I'm sure they put the video up for me. I'm a sigma. This is Tate and his brother. I believe Tate's brother is a sigma. They're like yang and yin. This is how it is for me with alpha types. I have no problem sitting in the back seat. You get it? But I'm not somebody you can just push around and do all sorts of shit with either. But the point is, so I've been in a lot of fights. I counted when I was with Horvat. And I've been in 50 fights, and I probably missed a few when I was adding it up with Horvat. But I've literally been in 50 fights. Can you believe it, David? Bill? Literally. Every single one, people starting fights with me. Can you believe it? And then take a look. I won all of them. Minus the two where I was shit-faced drunk. But getting back to the point, so Horvat was always reading me as I'm an alpha male, and when it's a big guy, I get kind of aggressive. Like a small chihuahua will start getting aggressive with like an Irish wolfhound or something, you know? It's not like that with me at all. I always start, my hackles start going up. The hair on the back of the dog starts standing up, and he starts getting tense and aggressive because he senses somebody who's going to fuck with him. That's where I'm at. I recognize certain types of people and personality types. I can read people's energy, and I'm like, that's the type of person that fucks with me. The way Horvat always read it was as, well, I've got an issue with people that are bigger than me, and I'm like an alpha dog or something, you know? It's not like that at all. But the point is, they've always misread this. They've always had it wrong. So then the other one is, well, you could, as a point, they have a big black guy show up somewhere, and then they send messages, because it's one of their people, and they have it set up so I'm getting messages when I'm there at the store and that guy's there. And for me, okay, I recognize this guy clearly is involved with law enforcement or with the FBI. I'm sure it's not a coincidence. I'm looking at the messages they've got ready, and I'm like, looks like it's been set up ahead of time. But the point is, they might sense before they give messages. My hackles go up. I recognize a particular type of person that likes to fuck with me and may fuck with me. You get it? So it'll be a big black guy who they've picked, because in their minds, being bigger means winning. Which, oh my God. So the whole time I've been fighting midgets. Every single person I've fought has been bigger than me, and it's been 2 people at a time, 3 people at a time, fucking 5 people at a time. So go fuck yourselves. Not you, David and Bill, but these turds. But the point is, for these agents here, so then this is what I mean. This is why I've been saying they're like crackheads off the street. They have cheap thinkings. They bring their cheap psychology to the psychology department, David and Bill. What I'm showing you is the real level of the FBI here and how fucking sloppy they are. They've, the entire way, this is standard operational procedure for agents and agencies. They hide their mistakes made with me from everybody around me. They keep it totally quiet. Furthermore, they've affected me for getting that result in regards to all sorts of shit. Doesn't mean I don't remember them fucking up. But if I try and get it on you know, in video here, typically they just instantly wipe the memory. So these memories, they just keep coming back. I'm looking at their mistakes and stuff, but my ability to put it in video is a different story. But the way these agents are, and the way they all are, is so then they'll develop a theory, well, it's a race thing. He's been in a lot of fights with black people, and so he's getting aggressive, and because it's a big black guy. And no, it's got nothing to do with skin color. It just has to do with the energy of the person, and I can see what type of person they are. It doesn't matter, because they see this also. They'll have a big white guy. So, but then they're looking at it, well, he's an alpha guy, alpha type. No, I'm just looking at people's energy. Weeks back, they had this police officer out there, and they're trying to tell me he's redneck, and I was like, no, and he was a big guy. And I'm like, no, he's got good energy. He's the kind of person I can get along with. They did this with a big black guy, now that I think about it, in the last week at the coffee shop. And I'm like, no, that guy's got good energy. He looks like somebody I can actually hang out with, you know. Didn't look like a bad person at all. He looked actually like somebody I might get along with. You get it? So it's all about energy. It's not about superficial shit like skin color or they work for law enforcement or this or that. No, it has to do with the type of person they are. And this is where agents and agencies just fucked up like crazy all along the way here, David and Bill, and for you, Jurgen. You look at me from the outside in. You're looking at superficial surfaces and appearances, not my actual psychology. Furthermore, you're projecting your own fucked up psychology onto me. And you're paid shitloads of money for figuring this out, and instead you perform like crackheads off the street. Do you fucking get that one? February 24th, 12:36 p.m. Okay, Jurgen, so I'm doing video clips here for you, and I'm also cleaning up my tablet. The whole point is, you are measuring things around me here in the outside world based on how you look at things, based on your perceptions, based on how you measure things. You're not doing it based on how I do it. When that is the case, you are never getting my psychology correctly, but I see yours. What's the reality here of these pissants? And, okay, they're doing a game of the race stuff. They want to try and sell it as I'm racist. Actually, I'm just addressing the issue of race since they had brought it up at one point in time. For people from the public, they then try and sell a false narrative behind the scenes. The reason why they've been doing that is because they are guilty of hiding a murder. And it was, and somebody at 911 not contacting the ambulance station. The ambulance was 10 minutes late. And that's because the person at 911 asked, are they white or black? When they got the answer black, it took 10 minutes for an ambulance to show up. And the station was like, you know, at the most 400 meters away. Hello? In that amount of time, they could have walked there and assisted the person and been there in less than 10 minutes. So that's what they're trying to hide, and that's why they'd be trying to sell I'm racist. There's no truth to it at all, which is rather the point. You get my profile, I don't look at superficial labels. I look at what's underneath. But the point is for you, Jurgen, What you do is you go, and the agents here, this is the point I'm making. So they're making it about race and how big somebody is for these agents here. And furthermore, it's not just the agent in charge, it's all of them. Being bigger equates as kicking my ass. That's not reality. So they are assessing reality based on their life experience and based on their perceptions of the world and how they think it is. That tells me most of them have never been in any fights. You understand? They are whipping this out of their heads, but it's got nothing to do with reality. Actually, if you'd stayed focused on me and you were focused on me instead of your own fake shit here, your own fake version of the world, you would understand, well, he is a small guy. Everybody he's beaten the shit out of is bigger than him. He's fought 2 people at a time, 3 people at a time, 5 people at a time. Only time he has lost is when he's shit-faced drunk. But you're not focused on reality. You are focused on your cheap perceptions. So then you want to turn me into, well, you are the exception. You're a small guy, but you've beaten up people bigger than you. No, actually, what I prove is your own belief systems are incorrect. You cannot measure the world around you based on your perceptions here. Your perceptions are incorrect. Mine are correct. Furthermore, I am the one we are speaking of here, yet I am dealing with other people's perceptions. You do not measure the world the way that I do. You come to the psychology department with all of your cheap thinkings and your cheap perceptions. This is how I see you all, because you fuck up all of the time and all over the place, because you don't see how I am here in regards to my consciousness, in regards to my thought processes, and how I measure reality around me. I measure shit accurately. They didn't know I'd be doing this video here and this video clip. It's just coincidence. They brought up this agent. This came up last night. Maybe because of the book file. I was working on the book. But you all had somebody from the Baikia go along with attacking me in April of 2014. I think it was April 7th. What was it? April 8th, 2010, they killed a second bird, a second loved family member, and that was April 8th, 2010, and for people from alternative media and the public here, they picked April 7th, 1 day over, 1 day removed from April 8th for a large traumatic event, supposedly. And what they did is they affected me. My elbow kind of was jutting out. And I went by this big guy. And the whole thing was set up with technology. And so my elbow hit the guy as we were going by or something. It's not like he was hurt or something. And then he turned around and started talking shit and started coming towards me. And I just sat there and waited. And then he tried slapping me and I blocked his fucking slap. But the point is, they looked yesterday, I was like, holy shit. If that had been real, if I had just gone off on the guy was big as shit, Jurgen. The guy he must have been 300 pounds and 6'6". The guy was more than 2 meters, and he must have been about 150 kg. And the reality is, they were looking yesterday, I was like, I would have absolutely beaten the fuck out of that. That guy literally had no chance at beating me up. He would have gotten the shit beaten out of him beyond belief. And that's because he's bigger, and that means I got to start breaking shit on him to make sure he's not going to fuck me up. He would have lost absolutely. Man, it would have gone quick. So that's one more these agents don't bring into the picture, which they've only found out in the last months. I'm extremely fast. They were giving me a whole bunch of shit. A few months ago, I'm sitting down on my knees, with my feet underneath my ass. Something rolled and touched my leg. It was at night back here on the patio, and I thought it was an animal. I was instantly on my feet. I said to these fuckers, I said, is that quick enough for you? So shut the fuck up. But the point is, these people are just making their assumptions about fighting and this and that based on their life and their perceptions. Bigger means you win. What's the reality of my life here? So you don't actually deal with reality. You just deal with your cheap perceptions and you think I view shit the way that you do. Actually, everything about my life is showing me that all sorts of shit that you believe is a goddamn lie. I do not live my life from the lies that you live. As part of my whole enlightenment process here. Been going on the entire time and way since my first enlightenment jump, Jurgen. Are you starting to get how you make your mistakes here? And you know, the only good thing, Jurgen, in regards to all of this, in fact, the agents out in Phoenix saw this. I was like, the only good thing that's come about from all of this, all the fucking up and everything, is that I've learned myself better and how to explain myself better to people here. Because I suffered from color blindness. And this ties into fighting, by the way. I'll get there in a moment. So all the way back with Horvat, and I mean this is very early on, like 2006 or something, I'm listening to this sports show, Ron Barr. It's the only sports show where I actually enjoy listening because the host of the show, Ron Barr, did such a good job. He made listening to sports actually entertaining, and you wanted to listen. Usually, if you look at my profile, I don't pay jack shit. I don't pay any attention to sports. So there are always exceptions to the rule. I actually enjoyed listening to sports because of this broadcaster. I'm just pointing out one more thing about my profile and how I am here. But I'm listening to this guy in a show here on Bar, and this receiver... Yeah, I think he was a receiver, football, American football, not soccer, Jurgen. And he said, yeah, I could feel when somebody's going to hit me. Even if he couldn't see them, he just knew he's about to be hit. And that's when Horvat and her officers, they realized that when I'm in fights and I'm fighting multiple people, I know if somebody's throwing a punch from behind me. And I turn and I literally block the punch, fuck them up, then I spin back around and I start fucking up the people I was already fucking up. Now, the thing that I learned when I was listening to the show, I thought that was normal. I thought everybody can do this and this is how it is when people fight. I had nothing but my own experience to go on. I thought it's normal. It's just like color blindness. They show you this bowl of colors and they're like, can you see the numbers? And some people are like, what numbers? And then they're like, oh, well, you've got red-green color blindness. And there are other types of color blindness as well, by the way. But the point is, you grow up with that and you have no idea that it is that way. You have none. You just think that's the way it is for everybody. You have no way of knowing otherwise. So that's when I realized this is some ability that I have here, like Spider-Man. Now, I actually understand how it works. These agents are like, well, fuck with you with technology, this and that. You do whatever you want. You can't change how I operate. Now, one more you don't get here, and your agency, Jurgen. These agents know the truth of Horvat and her officers and the CIA. They're awake to my real profile, my real psychology here, which they clearly have not passed on to you. But the point is, at the end of the day, they're still idiots. They still do all of their shit the same way. The only thing that is different is that they're starting to grasp my psychology and are able to predict certain things. They're able to predict things from the past, things in the future here where I will be. It's no different. I've been saying this even before all the way back to the beginning here. This goes back to Horvat. I knew my psychology was being lied about. Kind of obvious. So the point is, even though they've gotten to the bottom of my profile here, their ability to assess things is not very good. They still operate as the superficial, crackhead idiots that they are. So this is where they have problems. As long as they keep labeling everything around us in the world here based on how they are, then I am going to see them, because this is what I mean. I pick up on their mistakes. I see their psychology. I see what they believe in and what's in the background of what they believe. Point is, if a single one of them had been in a lot of fights and dealt with the shit that I've dealt with, and, you know, maybe some of them have been in a lot of fights, but they sure as hell weren't winning fights, if that's the case. But the point is, I can see the psychology of the people I deal with here based on their mistakes here. Do you understand? I see how you measure reality in the world around you because you do not see how I measure shit. You've been putting all of your shit onto me. Actually, in regards to everything, I see things differently than how you see shit in all these agents here. This is why you're constantly wrong about my fucking profile in the first place. You don't even understand what it is I'm angry about in regards to you fucks and all agents and agencies here. You're balls to the walls incompetent. This is a statement of fact and reality. Mother Mira, Andreas, Monica, my daughter, they all get me better than you all do. Strangely enough, they and I have a similar consciousness. They get where I'm coming from. You fuckers do not. The next point is, you're not difficult to see. You all are a comic book. You're easy. Look at the shit you project onto me. That's based on all of you. You brought yourselves to the psychology department. You think I can't see you? Are you kidding? I'm miles deep. I'm miles deep into this asshole's head. It's been this way for years on end. Now they're going to become invisible? You got no common sense. Patsy here is like, oh no, actually I'm this guy from Wegmans who got in his truck there in front of me and made a point of being there in front of me. At the end of the day, this is the one I get. This is one more way you superficially measure reality. Doesn't matter who the fuck I'm dealing with. I am noting their mistakes every motherfucking day here regardless. It does not change where I operate from. It does not stop me from seeing the person I am dealing with. When you're this fucking stupid, there is no difference. If it were this guy from the parking lot, there is no difference between this dumb asshole and Patsy, which I find hard to believe. Therefore, I figure it must be Patsy. But at the end of the day, it makes no fucking difference. It's just like this stupid game. They're pushing in technology. It's me, Horvat. It's me, Patsy. Who is it? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm just noting your fucking mistakes in regards to my psychology in the first place. You are distracted with, well, he's incorrect. He thinks it's Patsy, but it's Horvat. He thinks it's Horvat, but it's Patsy. That's where you stop thinking. The reality is you're lazy-minded, and this is just cheap, stereotypical thinking. You're not scratching past the surface. What's reality? If they're fucking up, it doesn't matter who it is, you imbecile. This is why I get angry with you. You're supposed to be paid agents, and look at how cheap and superficial your goddamn thinking is. The point is, you are actually focused on being correct. That is more important than finding out what the truth is. You go, oh, well, look, they just made a point. He's incorrect about which agent in charge it is. Therefore, he's incorrect about everything. That's not how you measure a goddamn thing. Furthermore, your measurements don't arrive at truth. But what it does arrive at is you proving to yourselves an incorrect viewpoint, and you think it's true. You think it's correct. You think it's accurate. You understand words? Yet the way that you get there is not how you can arrive at truth. You do not do your shit the way that I do. And this is how I view everything every moment of the day here. It's how I measure shit. You don't even do it, and you're paid to do it. Holy fuck. So yeah, you all are balls to the walls incompetent. Same day, 1:20 p.m. So I want to get back to a point. So that's the only good thing that's come out of this. I realize my own uniqueness better. I appreciate myself better. And Horvat always wrote this off. This is one more you screwed up on continuously. I'm narcissistic. That's about my ego. This is the shit I'm talking about. Everything you view about me is from the viewpoint of a goddamn psychopath in the first place. And it's all over the place. Cheap, superficial, thinkings about me. And furthermore, you believed it all based on your own egos in the first place. That's one I get that you don't. So then what do you go doing? I'll tell you what you do. You go labeling me as egotistical. And you say it's all about my narcissism, and I'm not even a narcissist. Man, whoops. So the point is, I see myself better, and I have more appreciation for myself here. I'm like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. The most wonderful thing about Tiggers is that I'm the only one. That's about loving myself and my own accomplishments here. And the whole thing with pushing myself, everything, is about me for me. It's not about being an egoist. It's not about being a narcissist. That is about loving and appreciating myself for who I am. Horvat wrote it off as narcissism. Imagine that one. So all the way around, you've just gone on the perceptions of an egotistical psychopath. Furthermore, it's all over the place. It's in neon red, and you haven't woken up to goddamn one single bit of it. And it's the same thing with these ass wipes here. You're busy listening to fuck-ups. Furthermore, the one I get that you do not is none of this is accidental at this point. That said, you most certainly do not have a witness. Yeah, but it's funny for me. You went on an egotistical psychopath, not a normal psychopath, Jurgen, an egotistical one. We're talking an extremely large difference here between your average serial killers and psychopaths and Horvat here. Very big difference. But imagine that one. You all have been going on her perceptions in regards to all sorts of shit. And imagine that one. You always wrote it off as narcissism instead of getting my real profile. Hello? You know, as a point, I've done all sorts of things, and I don't speak to people about it. It's for the people who really know me. And in this case, pigs, agents and agencies know about shit, but then you don't understand how it works, so you just go labeling it from your own superficial version of the world and reality, which isn't based on reality. It's just based on how you feel and what you want to believe. At the end of the day, that is the moral of the story here. Yeah, but go figure. Appreciating myself, loving myself, imagine that one. Horvat wrote it off as narcissism. Wow. And so did you. And so did everybody from your agency. Your version of the world is how you think everything is around you. Hello? You go on stereotypes. Quite frankly, you go on what you want to believe instead of thinking about things and finding out in the first place. That's the entire point. So you go on believing what you want, and you go on believing your homies here, and Horvat, your homie, and her team of demented agents. You keep going on these people. In the meantime, I'm going to keep living my life, but once the FBI screws up here, and, you know, whether it's murder, what have you, everything's based on real life here, not your Disneyland. Murder is murder. Doing heavy shit is doing heavy shit. This wonderful little self-invented VIP world of agents and agencies and your stalking Disneyland is finished. You and all your cheap beliefs here and all of the false accusations and on and on and on, you can stick it up your asses. It's finished. You got no business holding me in, no nothing. So from here on out, it is real life terms. I don't give a fuck what you believe. So that's it for the video. Starting to rain, and I've got book to do. I've got to shower, go to the coffee shop, and do book writing and shit. Yeah, I'll do more videos for you, but I'm saying shit once here. I'm all done with the kid shit.